Hello and welcome to Geeks Around Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. discussion. This episode is known as The Well. I'm your host, Matt Moore, and we're here today with, since I introduced them last time, I'm going to start with Isaiah Mullins. How you doing, Isaiah?
I'm great, and you better you better do that more times than often. Like, put me first, man. Put me first, man. Come on, coach. Put me in. Put me in.
This time you are first because of the fact that everyone else in here has names that start before yours. Because before, everyone's name started after I. Now everyone's name starts before I. So you were first anyway.
Anyways, I get my due.
So you don't need to change your name to Zanzibar.
Which sounds so stupid. This is not Jeopardy.
Not Jeopardy. Next we have Charles Whedon. How are we doing, Charles?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Have you talked to your father, or sorry, your older brother about the show yet?
Yes.
Screw you. That is not funny.
Yes, it is. It's always funny.
For those of you new to this particular hangout, we like to teach Charles about having a similar last name to the showrunner, Joss Whedon.
Yes.
And we do it. And last, but certainly not least, we have Andy. I can't pronounce your last name. How you doing, Andy? I can't pronounce your last name.
Hi, Matt Moore, whose last name I can't pronounce. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing quite well. At some point, I'm gonna have to ask you to like talk me through that last name, because I don't know, but I'm not trying to. I'm just being honest. And let's get started on the show. I already know Isaiah's thoughts on it, and I don't agree, but we'll get there.
What? I didn't say nothing yet.
How did everyone think the show was? Who thought it was good? Who thought it was bad?
I thought the episode started out a bit slow. I thought it was cool, during the first scene where, what is her name again? I think it's Simmons. She did that whole. She did her whole narration talking about like all the different worlds in Asgard, and then she said, "Oh, to clean this up," and they started cleaning up all the mess that was caused by Malekith and Thor in London, and I thought that was really cool. But at the beginning of that, I was like, "Wait a minute, is this all they're going to show us that's going to tie into the movie?" And it turned out, yeah, it was. And but as it got closer, more into the story of the episode, like when those two kids in Norway and everything, and then everything started to open up, I was like, okay, this is getting interesting. And by the end of the episode, I was not disappointed. It was a pretty good episode.
Well, Charles, you just recapped the entire episode for us, so I think we can call it a night and watch us on the next Geeks Around. No, okay. I'm just kidding. What did you think of it, Andy?
Well, I didn't think it started out slow. I think it actually went in pretty fast by, introducing Thor, giving us a recap of how they view Thor and Asgard and so on. I thought it was pretty good. I had to rewatch it 3 times to really decide how I felt about it. But I think as we get deeper into the episode discussion, people will get what I mean. But I was pretty pleased with it most of the time.
All right, and that's actually kind of where I was with it. Is that while at first I wasn't too pleased with it because of the fact that there was so little connection between it and Thor, it did turn out to be a pretty good episode. However, we have a dissenting opinion from the man himself, Isaiah Mullins. Tell us what you thought of the episode, Isaiah.
Finally, jeez, put me in the back of the bus again. Ain't that about a bitch? Anyways, folks, I really liked this episode, oddly enough. It really was cool. Yes, it was a little slow in the beginning. However, we got more insight about Ward and his childhood, which I really did appreciate. Mm-hmm. And Maria, I think it's Maria, is her name? Yeah, she proved that she really is a badass. Thank you, Melinda. She really is a badass character. And her and Ward had a good character moment with one another. I really liked that one.
Well, you had said earlier that you thought it was boring. What did you find boring about it?
Why did I say it was boring?
That was the first thing you said when you joined the Hangout. Is this episode?
No. I was talking about American Horror Story. Let's get this straight, man. It's American Horror Story.
Oh, okay. All right.
See what I mean? You jump in the Kool-Aid without knowing the
things.
flavor. That's how it is. You jump in the Kool-Aid, you don't know the flavor.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your preview to the American Horror Story discussion they will have later this week.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, episode was boring. Okay, so yeah, we'll get into it. We have Simmons doing kind of the voiceover. You see like the scene in space, and they don't specifically talk about like the planet alignment, but they do talk about the planets and the stars and how these aliens are not actually gods, but they're just aliens, and how all of this magic stuff, quote unquote, can actually be attributed to science, and that's where we actually come in to see Simmons.
Yeah, this what was it? Oh.
Now, I was just going to ask, what did you guys think of that scene specifically?
I thought it was really cool because
I
they
thought-
also said, "Oh, go ahead, Charles."
I was just gonna say, I thought it was pretty cool. Like she was mentioning Asgard and it was showing it off, but it kind of felt like just clips taken from the movie. I was kind of hoping for something to be unique to the show, but I'm not really complaining about the clips that they stole from the movies. So.
Me neither. But I like how they made Asgardians as it says kind of calling them gods. They also can label them as aliens as well, like because they're not from Earth in an extraterrestrial type of way. So it was kind of cool saying like the Asgardians can be classified as aliens. Interesting, because they can't die.
Now, I just a quick poll. How many of us here have actually seen the movie Thor? Right here.
I've seen it.
I've seen
So,
it.
so we've all seen it. So we have to be careful not to give any like story point spoilers for Thor, because this is not a Thor spoiler cast. We don't want to ruin it for our viewers.
Yeah.
However, something that is not like story driven, something that's just a small point in the movie, is that at one point Odin and Thor I think it was Odin and Thor. I know it was Odin and someone else. They're talking and they're like, yeah, we're not gods. We just live a long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, even they acknowledge that they're not gods. And the idea of gods actually becomes an important thing here, because our bad guys in this episode are basically trying to become gods.
Or pretty much be the bootleg version of Wrecking Crew.
I didn't get the Wrecking Crew vibe from the villains in this episode.
Really? They were wrecking shit up. Like, we're wrecking shit up because we're
No.
gods.
The only way that I would ever get the Wrecking Crew vibe is if somebody gained special powers via Asgardian blood. Because that's how the Wrecking Crew got their powers, was from Thor's blood.
However, it was close enough. It was by quote unquote the item they had.
Yes,
No,
it was.
I don't think so at all, because if it were the Wrecking Crew, you would need Avengers in there, or you need other Asgardians in there.
That's why I said
The
bootleg.
Wrecking Crew cannot be taken down by just regular mortals.
That's why I said it's a bootleg version. It's a bootleg version. They're not cool. They're just bootleg.
Oh, so you're not the Wrecking Crew. Okay, yeah, bye.
Right. They're all generic too, so I didn't care about them.
Okay.
Although one thing I do got to point out, the from the pair of villains, the blonde woman, she acted in the show Alphas on Sci-Fi Channel.
I know I recognized her from somewhere.
Yes, she played an alpha who had the ability to be able to watch anything and learn, and instantly she'd know how to do it. Like she could watch video footage of like black belt level martial arts, and after watching it, she'd be a black belt martial arts expert.
Muscle memory.
I think superhuman muscle memory, I think is what it is. Or whatever. I don't remember what the name of the ability is. I'm just saying that's her character.
Which, by the way, that particular power was, I think, completely ripped off of Heroes.
Yes.
With that black girl.
Who didn't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
But in any case, back to the show.
Yes.
Because we actually have a lot to talk about. This was a good episode.
It really was.
We have them cataloging all these various things and going through and testing to see if they are of alien origin or Earth origin. And anything that's alien origin, they're boxing up and sending somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly into the sun or into space or whatever, like they did the stuff earlier in the season. And then we have Fitz bitching and complaining that anybody could be doing the job that he was doing right then, like even a trained monkey.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I found that kind of out of line because,
Yeah.
you know, being the scientist guy is kind of his job.
Stop being a dick.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's not talking fast scientifically stuff.
Yeah, but now he's talking like a dick now. Like, wow, dude, you want to be like a stuff.
Well, it's a Joss Whedon show. At least 50% of the characters are supposed to be a bit of a dick, even though you love them.
Yeah, but it was Fitz, of course. He was like, he's a scrawny little smart guy. Like, he's talking shit. Like, seriously, dude? Seriously?
And, yeah, and so he's scanning stuff, and he found something that kind of like looked like the letter E. Like, yeah, he couldn't really tell what it could possibly be, but apparently it was alien origin. They box it up and ship it out. And we actually end up seeing that later. They give it to Professor, but we'll get there. I don't know. It just seemed like a weird scene because that was literally the end of anything having to do with the actual Thor movie.
You sure? Because when the bad guys chopped down that tree, they found an item. Remember?
Yeah, we'll get there, but that item actually has nothing to do with the movie.
Oh, I thought it did.
No. It was in that tree from long before the events in the movie happened.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best not to spoil anything. But yeah, so that was the end of the Thor stuff, and then we got into the actual story, which starts with this young blonde couple, with short hair, blonde girl, and then kind of a bigger guy, and they're chopping down trees in a reserve, in a forest reserve
in Norway.
They find like part of a staff.
Right.
And they're like, "Are you ready?" And then they gain the powers, and like one of them becomes super fucking strong and takes out like a forest worker who I'm sure was prepared to say stop, and then he probably would have said stop again, and that's all he would have done because he works in a forest.
Yeah, they're pretty much puss cakes. Like, dude, you have guns, don't you? Got any guns? Got anything? Stop being like a freaking puss cake.
There was one little thing that I really need to nitpick during that whole scene that took place in the Norwegian forest, when the two people that took that part of the staff and then the park reserve guys, they whenever they would speak, they spoke in English.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like,
I was expecting them to speak in their native language in Norwegian, and it would have English subtitles. That's what I was expecting. And I was disappointed when they were speaking in English, because in Norway they don't speak English. They only speak English to people who are English speakers. When they talk to their own like fellow Norwegians, they speak in Norwegian. So I was a little bothered by that. And I like the Norwegian language and I like to hear it. So yeah, I was a little mad that they didn't have that. So.
Well, now you have me looking up whether they actually speak, whether they're actually taught English in school, to where they would.
Yeah, it should be.
It does not look like it.
Yeah.
So, Charles, you have a nitpick point for this week. I haven't even made a nitpick point yet.
Yeah.
You already got one. Normally it's me.
Well, he's a Northern guy. He's like Thor's second. He's like Thor's brother. Or second brother.
No, he's Joss Whedon's little brother.
Oh, that's true too.
Bite me, both of you.
Nah.
I would, but you're on the East Coast, and that's kind of a far commute.
And yeah, I don't like hairy dudes.
So, I totally forgot where. Oh, okay. So yeah, he takes out the Park Services guy, and that's, I guess,
They
where
flee.
the team comes in.
Right.
The team goes from London to Norway, which is not really close, right? That's like
They're somewhat close to each other, semi close.
I think it's
okay.
like maybe a 10-hour flight at most.
Yeah, I would assume so.
I don't know. They just do a lot of globetrotting in this particular episode.
Yeah, do they ever get
But
tired of doing that?
I would assume the bus is able to travel faster than any normal airplane, so they could have gotten there at like a decent time.
Maybe.
I'd say
Yeah.
like with the bus, I'd say like maybe 8 hours. It's probably how
Or with
long it
Lola,
took.
it'll be a little bit longer. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they had, the plane is probably very fast than usual planes, so I think they're good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it would make more sense for a governmental team like this to have like sub teams throughout the world. That way, they don't have to go halfway across the planet to make a 3D model of an imprint, because that's basically all they did in that country.
They did it
Yeah.
for the sake of the plot, and let's leave it at that.
And showing off shield technology, which was so cool. What the computer stuff was, not the whole scanning the imprints of the staff, well, something like that area. But that was about it.
And that was something that I actually had a problem with is how they cut the tree. See, this is my nitpick right here. How they cut the tree. The imprints from the staff would have been on the other part of the tree that had been cut out. So they could have made a full 3D model of the entire portion of the staff. But they didn't. They only did the half. See, that's
Okay.
my nitpick. I'll nitpick too, bitch.
And then they made a 3D model out of it. Like they made like a complete of a circular shape. It became as like a half circular shape, like wow, or a spear. So that was kind of weird. Like okay, you can't make the whole thing round or nothing like that, but whatever.
Yeah, and they had actually said that they couldn't do the whole thing because of the fact that it was what did they say? That it was hurt inside, or that it was destroyed, or I don't know. It was just a bad excuse,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and I don't understand what the point of it was. Is they easily could have done a 3D scan, had the full model, and the story would not have changed one bit.
Or use Skype. Either way, it's like you could just use the camera and just look at it very closely, and boom, you're gonna go all that hard work.
Yeah, but so they get this this half, I guess 1/6 of a staff 3D modeled,
hmm
and take it to Professor dude from that law show with what was that show?
Alan McBeal?
Thank you, dude from
Yes.
Alan McBeal.
I just remember
Wow.
Mr. Bean. That's all I remember from.
Yeah, that's
I
not
never
Mr.
saw it.
Bean. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name, but yeah,
Mr. Bean?
yes.
The guy's name is Peter McNichol something.
Wait, are
Yeah,
you
that sounds
Mr. Bean was there?
No, Josh Whedon's brother.
If you were
No.
sitting,
Look at
if
it,
you were
it's a
sitting
good-
right next to me, I would throw a garbage can at you.
Look at it this way: having a name that sounds like Whedon as your last name, that's pretty epic.
But the thing is, my last name sounds like Whedon, but it's not spelled the same way.
Well, at least yours can be pronounced. Like, look, no one has been able to pronounce my last
It's
name.
like, oh, your last name is Whedon? Are you related to Joss Whedon? I'm like, you know what? No, just shut up.
Because that is such a disgrace to be related to Joss Whedon. Ooh,
No. You know what? No, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm done. Yeah.
Anyways,
All right.
back to the story.
I think you no not quite. Andy, you've thrown down the gauntlet. I'm going to try and pronounce your last name. Is it Babicott? Is it? Does it start with Bay?
Yeah.
Oh, Bet. Okay.
Yeah.
See, B-E-H in like regular English, I think is pronounced Bay.
Beth Box?
You were close.
Damn.
All right, we'll work on it later. So, so we see Peter McNichols who's playing Professor. I forget.
Elliot Rudolph,
Roloff?
something like that.
Let's call him Elliot. Let's call him that day.
Dr. Elliot.
and let's see. 1 second. I'm almost there. Professor Elliot Randolph. Thank you.
Ooh, terrible name.
How is that a terrible name? Never mind. I don't care.
At least you can pronounce it.
Yeah, yes. So, he ends up giving out the clues that the I don't know what the name of
Artifact.
Supposedly they are, from what I
Berserker.
read of the recap, they are Norse, basically a Norse pagan hate group. That is so frightened or enraged with the implicit threat Thor represents that they've resolved to become gods themselves. I'm actually reading that straight from the recap on Vulture.com.
And I was right too. A bootleg wrecking crew.
How is that a bootleg wrecking crew?
Because the wrecking crew hated Thor, by the way, and they want to become powerful as Thor.
So does that make like all of Thor's enemies bootleg wrecking crew?
1/3 of them, yes.
Okay. So yeah, we have this Norse pagan hate group who basically have decided to become gods themselves, and now they're recruiting people to become gods.
Due to the chaos they see in the streets, because they show off their powers and people want to follow them. That's how it was.
Yeah, they're going around destroying stuff because of the fact that they hate the fact that Thor is a threat, and therefore they're destroying stuff because they don't want Thor to destroy stuff. Basically.
It's very confusing. It makes
no sense. It's kind of the point.
I thought they were stoned. That was why.
That they were stoned?
Yeah.
What do you mean stoned?
They smoke weed or whatever. They were gone. I don't know. I thought they were. I thought that was like. I didn't really get what the reason was.
You couldn't say they was on cocaine. It'd be okay. They're on cocaine.
No, they were on hallucinogenic shrooms that made them think they were gods. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sticking with cocaine because it's a hell of a drug.
So they're passing this power out. S.H.I.E.L.D. is investigating this whole story. S.H.I.E.L.D. is trying to get to the second piece first before the blonde folks get there.
Or the hate group comes and collects them and puts them together to make themselves even more powerful.
I'm just gonna say it. If you are blonde and German or Norwegian or whatever, don't hate. You need to stop the hate.
Stop hating. Appreciate.
I don't care who you are. You need to stop the hate. But yeah, that was like I did not see this particular group. Isaiah, I don't think you could have joined this group no matter how much you believed in their ideals. I'm just putting it out that way.
They won't like me because of my skin color. Yeah. We don't accept darkies here. Sorry. Bye.
Racism.
I think there was kind of a racism thing going through there as well as everything else.
Yeah, because most of their crew was kind of Caucasian.
It's not the wrecking crew.
You know it was. However, the wrecking crew had one black guy.
And Suki wasn't even in this episode.
He was glad he wasn't because he kind of planned all those tricks and trinkets.
If you don't understand our inside jokes, you should watch all of our discussions. YouTube.com/geeksaround. Just saying.
Yes, I'm available.
So, remind me, how did they end up losing the second piece? Oh, that's right. The professor ends up making it to the second piece before S.H.I.E.L.D. does.
Right.
And the Blondie folks end up taking it from him.
But before we get to that, it was War who was out to get the second piece to the staff. However, when he ran into Elliot, he touched the piece of the artifact, which had some interesting effects on him.
Yes, and that was actually one of the main storylines that came through this. Is one, it made him at least temporarily stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And
bigger asshole.
made him much angrier, which she is a relatively angry person anyway.
Right.
And it also made him flash back to a trauma from his childhood.
Which was awesome.
Here is my wild speculation. It is not a wild speculation on the continuation of the show, so I will say it now. My wild speculation is that Ward was not the kid in the well, because the story was there was a kid at the top of the well who was not throwing down a rope to the kid inside the well who was drowning. I don't think Ward was the one inside the well. I don't think he was the one at the top of the well.
Yes, he was.
I
He
think
was at the top.
he was the third kid. I think he was the third kid.
No.
The dick. I think he was the one who's like, if you throw down that rope, you'll be going down with him.
No.
I think that was.
No, that's
No.
no.
No,
But the young kid called him Grant. He said Grant to them.
He said Grant
the
multiple
kid-
times.
Yeah, they said Grant several times.
My initial thought about that was that originally I thought the kid in the well was Ward, but then when it showed
No.
a closer look at the kid at the top, the one who wanted to throw the rope down, that made me think that it was Ward. But
And
the kid
That was like a fat, pudgy kid, so that means
However,
it wasn't Ward.
Also, Ward talked
The
about this
other
too.
kid, the third kid, was skinny and looked to be athletic and toned. That's why I thought he might be
No,
Ward.
I'm looking at
because,
IMDb right now.
Because Ward talked about this already with Sky when he wanted to become a person to protect people due to his older brother who was pretty much the boss and pretty much hurt them when in their childhood. So that was pretty much his older brother becoming the biggest dick of them all. Because that was his catalyst.
I don't remember that, but you know what, Isaiah, I will take your word on that because Isaiah knows his shit.
remember, viewers, Isaiah knows his shit.
Yes,
I know.
you need to put that as your tagline underneath your name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know my shit.
No. Just put Isaiah Mullins dash knows his shit.
Exactly. And people clean up after me.
Guys, I just looked at IMDb. The second kid, who was not the mean one, that was Ward,
See,
according to
it was
IMDb.
Okay. But, so yeah, Ward's going through this very traumatic experience over and over and over again in his head.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to necessarily get into that because of the fact that it also goes into some stuff at the end of the episode. But we'll talk about it a little bit now. Is now he's very angry. He's snapping at Sky. He's snapping
At everybody.
at pretty much everybody.
Right. Until he came to which was really weird scene too. He came to Colston, very calm and collected, like, okay, that was weird. Didn't you be
And
like,
then well, before that scene is something I wanted to bring up because I saw it in the recap that I had read earlier. Is that he's being very short with Sky and he's being very confrontational with Sky, and the question comes about: isn't it about time that he actually was confrontational? That he actually did be angry at Sky, because Sky pulls some shit. She really does. She tries to get away with everything she possibly can, and she's never been held accountable for it, really, except that one time with her ex-boyfriend or boyfriend,
ex-boyfriend, yes.
That's the only time she's been held accountable for any of the shit that she did. I mean, she helped break into a secure area in the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters.
Easily.
She got away with that scot-free.
Unfortunately, yes.
And, I mean, isn't it about time that someone holds her accountable? And you know what? Maybe it took Ward being possessed by this berserker rage for someone to actually, say, you know what, Sky? Yeah, stop that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because the staff also. I don't think it was just about being angry. I think it had a lot to do with emotions. And that's the thing. Ward doesn't really show a lot of emotions. I think that was the thing that the staff also helped him to convey that he was pissed off and so on.
Yeah, and how the flashback was working against Ward was actually very nice touch to his character. Like, it kept flashing back and forth. We didn't see the whole story of it. It was like a little snippet of how he remembered over and over and over again, like his torture.
Mm-hmm.
We do get the whole thing later on, but yeah, for the most part, until the end, we're just getting little snippets of it and putting it together. One but then yeah, there's a scene where he walks in and he talks to Coulson, and he realizes that he has a problem, and so that's why he ends up talking to Coulson. It seemed to me that Coulson was waiting for him. Like
Yeah.
he was sitting in front of his desk, on his desk, just waiting for someone to walk in. He wasn't behind his desk. He wasn't working. He wasn't anything. I think he was waiting for Ward to come see him.
Pretty much, yeah. 'Cause I mean, come on, you have cameras on the bus, anyways. He would see everything and know everything. Like, Ward's acting crazy again. Well, we just sit right here and see what happens.
I don't know. It's just I thought it was a pretty cool scene. I think they should have probably acknowledged maybe that Coulson was waiting for him.
Yeah, pretty
I think
much.
that would have made Coulson seem a little more empathetic towards the people in his charge.
Right, and also he almost hit I cannot say her name correctly for the life of me.
Melinda.
Thank you, Melinda. He
Melinda.
almost hit. Thank you, Melinda. He almost hit her, which was like, oh snap, he almost hit her. No, in fact, he would kind of lose that fight anyways,
Yeah, Melinda would kick his ass.
too easily.
Melinda would kick everyone's ass. And by the way, it's Ming Na Wen's birthday today, by the way, so happy birthday.
Oh yeah, it is her birthday.
Oh, it is, yeah. I, however, wish her happy birthday, like,
Same
in
here.
person. Like, so, ha! Well, not in person, but in a Google Hangout. Close
Yeah, I
enough.
saw that. Lucky bastard.
But, oh, and by the way, like, as hot as Melinda May is in the show, and she is pretty hot.
Oh God, yes.
In the Google Hangout that she was in, when she was not in costume and not like made up for TV. Well, she was made up for TV, but she was made up for news TV. Oh my God, she's like 3 times hotter.
I know, it was so fucking hot. Like, wow.
And
Wow.
and she just turned 50, right?
Really?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, like 50
No.
or 51, one of the two.
Wait,
It's 50.
Damn.
who are you talking? Ming Na Wen?
Yes.
Yes.
I gotta check this right now.
Damn. Really?
No.
Wow. Oh wow.
Holy shit!
Wow.
She just turned 50.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Seriously. She is hot.
Man.
Oh.
I could have
Beautiful
sworn
woman.
she was in her 40s, her early 40s.
Like 3 times a day, 4 times on Sundays. I'm just saying.
Man.
Good God!
Whew. Man.
That is oh
That's
wow.
a drink of water right there. That's a good drink of water right there.
Look, Whedon's probably has lost words. He's so
So,
speechless.
so yeah, we have Melinda May trying to keep Ward in check. Ward realizes at some point, I kind of wish I had shown his realization that he was out of control, but at some point he realized he was out of control, ends up talking to Coulson. Coulson replies by saying, the fact that you came to me shows that you are in great enough control to actually still be in the field.
So I
Which makes
trust you.
sense.
Yeah, and that is a lot of trust.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that was a cool scene. I mean, a little bit cool dialogue. I thought it was a little meh until I understand the meaning behind it. So I still like it was a good scene.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then and that's when they go after the third piece, which at that point did they know that the professor was Asgardian?
No.
It was
No.
in
It was
the
an
interrogation.
investigation. It was interrogation, yes. That's when he captured him when his second artifact was stolen.
Oh, that's right. And they throw Ward into the interrogation room, and they test out a theory, and Ward basically like tries to kill him with a
Shank.
knife.
Right. That was a cool scene, by the way.
Yep.
I thought he was gonna kill him. Like, oh my God, don't kill him. Like, oh wow, he got the knife.
My
Wow.
second
I didn't see that coming when they revealed him to be an Asgardian. I didn't
I
even
said it coming
notice that
either.
they had noticed that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
I
it was I thought it was awesome.
I have one nitpick. It's silly as heck, but he's the first Asgardian who is not British.
Maybe only the royal family are British.
No,
he was a
I'm everyone in the at least in the first movie, because I don't want to spoil the second movie. Oh my god, I'm risking spoiling everyone's accents in the second one. No, but like every time we're in Asgard, I only hear British accents.
Well, and this is going into Thor: The Dark World, so I'll try to keep it brief. But Rene Russo's character, Frigga, when she would talk in the movie, she didn't talk with a British accent.
Well, it didn't sound like an American one.
That reminds me of the movie Robin Hood Men in Tights. Right,
Awesome movie.
Yes, I'm not your regular, or what, I forget the line, but basically he's all like, and I can speak in a British accent, basically making fun of all the other Robin Hood movies, where the actor did not speak in a British accent, even though it was placed in Britain. But,
Yeah.
You're talking about the Kevin Costner movie, right?
no, Men in Tights. The guy from The Princess Bride. The guy from The Princess Bride played Robin Hood.
Cary Elwes.
Oh yeah, I like that movie.
Yes.
And unlike other Robin Hoods, I can speak in a British accent. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But in any case, yeah, it's in the interrogation, they come to find out that, one, he takes offense at the very idea that just because he happens to be Asgardian, that he might know Thor. Which is pretty funny, because, I mean, if you were to ask Isaiah, for example, do you know Reverend Jesse James?
Little, yeah.
No, I mean, like, personally, do you know Reverend Jesse James?
Oh God, no.
I mean, you're black, so you must, right?
No,
Sorry, that was just an example. That was just an example of how he must have felt when he was asked if he knew Thor. The Asgardian race is a race of billions of people. So for you to be asked, hey, do you know Thor? It's like, why would you think that I know Thor?
Right.
I mean, it's like, oh yeah, we must all know each other. Yeah, that's
like, oh yes, I used to kick it with the God of Thunder all the time. No, I don't know Thor.
Also, Elliot also said he wasn't like a god. He wasn't like a Asgardian in a way. He was like pretty much a commoner. He was really much for the lower class of
he was a Mason.
He called himself a Mason. He said he was a Mason. He broke rocks for a living.
Yeah, he broke rocks and then stacked them. That was his job.
Yeah. So we pretty much being classified as Asgardian. He's kind of throwing too much of his high caliber. Like it's too.
He was an Asgardian stonemason,
or what we call the poor people.
He was a commoner. Yeah.
Yes.
I do have one comment about the revelation that he was an Asgardian. I really appreciate that they actually decided to do that, because when I saw the synopsis and I saw that he was in the guest list, I'm like, they just cast a great actor just as a typical professor, and then voila, this, and I was like, I appreciate it more, and this means he could perhaps come back.
And I have to say this, which is something that I thought was very cool, is that the actor they picked to play the Asgardian, I thought that actor was a perfect choice for it, because he's not your typical Asgardian. All Asgardians that you've ever seen were muscly, they were burly, they were huge, they were strong. This guy looked unassuming and weak.
Well, that's just it. Is we have a little bit of the disparity between what we see and what is the normal. For example, when Star Trek: The Next Generation first came out, we had Klingons with ridges. And up to that point, we had never seen Klingons with ridges. And how they explained it at first, they've changed it since, but how they explained it at first is the royal Klingons don't have ridges and look more like humans. And the warriors and the lowly peasants of the Klingon race were the ones that looked more feral and had the ridges. I think that's what we have here in Thor, is we have seen the royal family and the people having to do with the royal family, and they look like the big, burly warrior types and with prestigious beards and big old weapons. We have not seen, not a single one have we seen a lowly peasant of Asgard. And this might be pretty much the first lowly peasant of Asgard, and maybe they look a little different. That's what we need. We need the lonely housewives of Asgard.
That would be cool.
Now
I would
they
God,
show
watch
right
that.
God,
there.
no.
And Josh Whedon, oh, not Josh Whedon, Charles Whedon would make it for us. He'd be the writer, he'd be the producer, and director.
You asshole.
Let's get back to the episode.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, that joke was right there in my face. Like, you gotta take it. You gotta take that joke.
You're an ass.
That's why you love me.
All right, moving on. Back to the discussion.
Like Asgardian romantic comedies. I think it'd be hilarious. So, but yeah, I mean, it's very possible that all we've seen is the royal sect, and the royal sect look very different from the commoners, and that would kind of make sense because I mean, even in our own history, you had the commoners, which were normally small and malnourished and skinny, versus the royals, who you could tell how wealthy a person was by how fat they were.
Right.
And so you had two very different looking types of people in our own British history. And I'm sure in others' history as well. And that just might be what's going on here. At least that's what I assume. And that is why the professor looks smaller, etc., than everyone else. However, he does have Asgardian strength. Hence the reason he was able to bend the blade.
And his longevity too. Their longevity as well for living.
Exactly.
Forever.
Because apparently they live 5,000 years.
Right.
Approximately. And my question is if he has the Asgardian strength, how come those guys with the Berserker staff were able to take the second piece of the staff from him?
I think that he explained that well. He said he wasn't a fighter. He pretty much said he was a pacifist. He wasn't doing battle that much due to his years on Earth. He pretty much gave up on that fighting culture of his ways, of his Asgardian roots.
There is one thing I gotta say to where the two crazy, the Norse paganist hate group people.
Let's say bootleg Rick and crew.
I am not going to say that because that's not what they are.
They're bootlegging.
I like that name.
Thank you.
But just when they showed up, I expected that guy to be killed by them. But as soon as they ran around the corner and they saw that he was still alive, he was only knocked on his ass, I was like, wait a minute. Why did they let him live?
Oh, so, yeah. I didn't think about that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Weird.
Yeah, I thought it was a little weird.
But, so they're going after the third piece. They realize this guy's Asgardian. This guy is pretty much telling the whole story about how he's found some French woman 500 years ago, and that's how his story ended up becoming written down, and how he keep that story hidden until that point.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that is why these people are after the staff. It's from this story because he was stupid.
Yeah, pretty much. He had people made stories about him in history books about Norse mythology. He didn't know people were gonna make stories behind it with his life, but it was kind of stupid too. Like, dude, you should have seen that coming. You know, people are gonna like spin the tale of your story, your life of being an Asgardian and all that bullshit. And you never thought about this?
Yeah, I think that if I were him, like right after I told the story, I'd be like, oh, that might come to bite me in the rear. Maybe I should get those pieces of that staff and hide them in different places.
Right, because it was fully detailed on how to give him clues and where to find the missing pieces. Like, are you serious, dude? They wrote all this shit. You didn't take care of that? Because he was a professor, by the way. He was a professor of Norse mythology. Like, he was the center. He was in the center of all that shit. Like, dude, you are a teacher in this shit. Why didn't you destroy the books?
Yeah.
So, and so then they go after the third staff, which, by the way, the clue for the third piece of the staff was close to God. That was the clue. There is no way that anyone except him could have translated that to where they found it. They found it, I think, somewhere in France, was it? Now I have to look for it.
It might have been. I don't know, because that was back in church.
Yeah, in a church somewhere, and where supposedly he was at one point revered as a saint,
Right.
which I thought was a cool touch. I thought it was pretty funny. And then like he goes to find the last piece of the staff, and the last piece of the staff is gone.
And then, out of nowhere, Blondie shows up.
Yeah, exactly. Now here's the thing: is Ward ends up getting a couple pieces of the staff, and Ward kicks pretty much everyone's ass.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Except the main guys.
Well, except
But
for
by
the
that
woman.
time, he was wiped out, and then Melinda May gets the third piece of the staff, puts it together into a full staff, and just whoops the last two's ass.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say really quickly before we get to the whole other scene that Elliot was also injured by Blondie. He was stabbed in the heart.
Oh yeah, that's right. And Coulson was trying to keep him alive by allowing him time to regenerate by plugging a hole in the guy's heart.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. What I forgot what Coulson said about Asgardian himself, because he gave away some hints about his life and how it's like they're actually the same. Like how Asgardians are pretty much the same. And I forgot what it was, but it was like something about regeneration. He had to slow down the heart for breathing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Melinda May ends up kicking everyone's ass. Coulson is helping this guy kind of have enough time to regenerate. Agent Ward is done.
He's tired. He was destroyed.
And my thought is earlier in the show, and I forgot to mention this, when Ward was going all like berserker in the control room or whatever, he actually swung at Melinda May. And Melinda May just like she was like a million miles out of the way by the time his punch got there. Right. Like his punch would have hit her in the face, but I mean she was no yeah. Like she got nowhere, close to his fist because she had dodged that shit pretty well.
Right, like you ain't gonna hit me, man. If you hit me, you would have been like 6 feet under. Like, so don't do that.
I think it would have been cool to see Melinda May fight those last two people without the staff.
Yeah, and it would also be the same thing. She still would have won regardless. Like, she beat them down with ease. However, she didn't get. However, the staff didn't affect her like unlike the Blondie people did, and how Ward did, which was very interesting.
From what I can tell, her fighting prowess seems to be kind of in line with Hawkeye and Black Widow's. Like I think they are of similar fighting ability, which is to say to use because most people know Batman. To use a DC reference is damn near Batman level.
Yeah, superhuman level, close to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, because she's just that freaking good. But but yeah, and then they ask, okay, how are you able to use the staff without like being crippled by those horrible thoughts?
That's what Ward said to her.
What's that?
That's what Ward said to her when he was just like asking like, how could you withstand that anger and anger within that staff? And you can go from here, Matt.
Yeah, and of course she replies that it didn't really affect her because of the fact that she sees that all the time.
Every day, basically.
Which was really awesome dialogue right there. Well, awesome line.
Oh, and I just opened the QA window. I'm sorry. Rock Metal. I can't
something.
The name. Rock Metal Mutri or something. He's asking, are we going to see Thor or Hulk in the future on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I think we will not see Hulk at all. We may see Bruce Banner. I think we might see Bruce Banner. And my thought is on Thor, Hulk, or even Captain America. If we do see them, it will be in passing. Like, we'll see someone in a very similar costume either flying by or running by or something like that.
Or a poster then.
Yeah, so we don't actually see the face of the actor.
I think Cap will show up.
I don't think so, because he's doing some other heavy shit with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, with the upcoming movie and what I'm hearing about it, it could happen.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
But
Um,
but not Hulk. It's too the effects are too expensive. But Bruce
Oh
Banner,
God,
sure.
yes.
yeah. Now, of
No, it's not.
course,
In fact, you just get Luke Ferrigno. Give me the Hulk again. Luke
no,
Ferrigno, come in here again. Give
no,
me
no,
the
he
Hulk.
can't. No. So, last scene, we have Coulson on a beach in what we assume to be Tahiti, and we find out later it actually is. And who here watched the TV show Dollhouse?
I watched the first season. I wasn't able to watch
I
the second.
I give a
I
fuck.
I didn't see it, but I heard from some Whedon fans that it was that there was a line that was apparently from the
Yes.
show.
Is the massage therapist in the scene, or he asked the massage therapist in the scene, did I fall asleep? And her response is, for a little while, which is a classic set of lines from the Dollhouse TV show in reference to when they were reprogramming the dolls. Is the dolls would always come back reprogrammed, and they wouldn't know what happened, so the first thing they'd ask is, did I fall asleep? And
Told
of
you.
course, the appropriate response is for a little while.
He's the Vision.
And
I'm telling you.
and so it like when I heard that, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I almost woke up the neighbors. I was jumping up and down like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I saw you posting something about on Google Plus that night. I was like, oh, he was excited.
we and then of course Coulson wakes up from that particular dream, and right after the massage therapist says something about Tahiti being a magical
It's a
place.
that's
It
what
is
she
a
said
ma-
exactly.
It is a magical place.
And
Yeah.
her
That's what she said.
voice becomes like digital robotic, and I'm like, holy crap, what's going
He,
on?
he woke up in a cold sweat too. Like whoa, ooh. Because
So,
we go,
so we're finding out slowly. We're finding out more about what's going on with Coulson.
you
Do we
know,
think we're going to see what happened to Coulson by the end of this season? Because
a
we're
little
about
bit. Yeah, but because really quick, he Elliot and him had nice dialogue, like because the staff makes you see like the past or makes you fear the most or anger. And him and Colson had like really nice dialogue. Like, you want to see what happened to you, or it's like the past, like we would see in the past, in the present, and future situation. And he doesn't. He was tempted to take it, but he said no. He's just like it could be like something that could be mentally damaging him if he touched that staff.
Oh yeah, I had forgotten that scene with the professor earlier. But
Yeah,
yeah, he had a chance of looking into his own past. But the question is would that have been his most traumatic moment? I mean, because of the fact that he was dead for most of it.
yeah,
So,
but
I mean, how can you experience trauma while you're dead?
it can happen because
Oh, maybe.
the staff was pretty much magical in its own right. We don't know how long. We don't know how what type of magic it holds within the staff. You hold them for like a long period of time. So this could be like it could be show you the past that you didn't know, like a past like that's locked away inside your mind. So that could awaken more memories of Coulson dying and coming back to life.
I don't know. But we only have a couple minutes left.
Oh, we
So
forgot one more thing.
who has quick, wild speculation?
We forgot one more thing. Sorry.
Oh, what's that?
Well, it was Ward and Melinda's scene.
You're right.
Oh Lord.
We assume that Ward and Melinda hooked up.
I don't think so. Just having one drink and in the sack, but didn't call that a day.
Well, no, I think what happened in that scene is that I mean, originally I was like, you know what? Yeah, they're gonna hook up, they're gonna bang and everything. But then I realized, wait a minute, just after what happened, I think Melinda knows what Ward is going through, and she thinks that he needs a moment to talk to somebody and to share a drink with them. And it's something to give him comfort, to tell him that he's not alone, to help him overcome the emotional issues that he has now, stuff like that.
And
You know, I'm going to have to disagree. I think the universal sign of walking into your hotel room
right.
with a bottle of whiskey and leaving the door open, facing someone of the opposite sex, that pretty much screamed, this is my intention, and it's not hanging out and talking.
Right. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You can take it or leave it. And Ward said, "Hey, okay."
Well, I'm not sure
Yeah.
how I feel about it. It could happen, but maybe it was just a drink, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Come on now. If Melinda,
If it were a drink, she would have asked him, "Do you want a drink?"
right?
Well, you know,
Come on.
when Lena says actually, ironically, she says more when she's actually quiet. Remember last week when Coulson was talking to her, and like she was doing her, Tai Chi or whatever, and he basically understood everything that she said in her silence.
Well,
Sorry, that's.
but man, I mean, lose train of
Oh
thought
yeah,
now.
oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Where Coulson is like going nuts, like trying to figure
Yeah, but
stuff out.
however, Ward and Melinda May are pretty much the same. They have the same, pretty much same background, and they're pretty much like the soldiers in the field. So seeing those two hook up is like logical and it's long term. Like it's kind of logical because they both have the same experience. They've been to a lot of traumatic moments. So that's why I say it like that.
Well, all right, now we really only have a couple minutes left. I guess we can go over if we have to. But do we have any wild speculations?
I do.
Okay, go for it, Andy.
No, I didn't say anything.
I'm kidding, Isaiah. I'm just kidding. I'm just
I know.
kidding.
Oh,
Anywho, I think Coulson is pretty much a cyborg or a clone. Because come on now,
Cyborg? No. Clone? Maybe.
it's a cyborg. I'm sorry, folks. Like
why?
it just gives
maybe clone, but I
because
don't know
like
what.
because like when Matt said with programming, it's like yeah, that's what people like programming the mindset and make sure they don't remember any type of situation. Cyborg might have Coulson's thoughts, like complete thoughts, but he's like a robot in a way.
I don't think he's a clone anyway because we've already talked about this when he opened up his shirt and showed the scar. If he was a clone, that scar wouldn't be there.
So he's still a cyborg.
He's not a cyborg either.
They could have recreated the scar.
He's Commander Shepard. There you go. He's Commander Shepard. Boom.
Oh, so they'll just bring him back from the dead.
That's what they did. Boom. Commander Shepard. Cyborg. Boom. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
No.
What if they put Asgardian blood in him? What if he is the Wrecking Crew?
Either way.
Mind blown my ass, okay?
But if you think about it, in the event of the Avengers, where would there be time for that? Like, when would they be able to do that?
A lot of time. It's S.H.I.E.L.D. for God's sakes.
They might have drawn blood from Loki the second he walked into the S.H.I.E.L.D. facility.
How? His skin would prevent a needle from penetrating it.
Yeah.
I'm sure adamantium or Thor could have pulled it off.
Or the Tesseract.
So you mean if Thor did, then do
Oh,
you think
so
that?
cut him on the edges of the Tesseract. Yeah, that's nice.
Boom. Boom. Good night, everyone.
All right. Any other wild speculation?
He's Commander Shepard.
Okay, Commander Shepard, and it's all Bob Stookey's fault.
Exactly.
All right, we'll wrap things up then. This was our discussion of The Well, which, by the way, I never got the reference to The Well.
Really? The Well?
What is The Well in reference to?
Ward's
well.
past. Because the boy fell in
Oh,
the
that
well.
well. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
That wasn't the episode.
Wow.
Wow.
I was
really?
thinking something that had to do with Asgardian. But yeah, okay, there we go. The Well. And I'm your host, Matt Moore. Check us out, youtube.com/geeksoftheround. Or check us out on our Google Plus page, which is geeksoftheround.com, which is temporary error 404 because I don't have a credit card. But we'll get that worked out probably within the next couple days where geeksoftheround.com will actually work again. Yay!
Yay.
Or just go to Google Plus and search for Geeks in the Round. We're there, and we'll approve you right away. David's on that stuff pretty quickly. Let me see what else. You can subscribe to Diano at youtube.com/EvoAnubis. You can subscribe to me at youtube.com/nobody, Nobodey. Isaiah and Charles there do a show called DDR, Dynamic Duo Reviews. Anything you want to talk about real quick?
Yeah, actually, just the other day we did our newest episode, episode 4, where we talked about the newest episode of Sleepy Hollow called The Necromancer. And it was a great episode. We love talking about it, and we'd love it if you give it a look.
Yes,
Cool.
check it out, or else. Ooh.
Or else. And make sure to check us out tomorrow. We're going to do American Horror Story Hangout. And then we'll be back on Monday for Walking Dead. Tuesday,
And Blacklist.
Blacklist. And then come back again next week on Wednesday to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And thanks for watching. See you next time.